So we want to review the distance between points. So maybe we should give ourselves a couple of points to start with.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, this one and that one. That one over there. Okay, so I should probably stick these someplace, right? Like on a Cartesian. Okay, so there's some axes for us. I kind of stuck these in the first quadrant. It doesn't matter where they are. They don't have to be in the first quadrant. They can be kind of mix match. Let's give them, I guess, a name, maybe some coordinates. So let's call this one A comma B. Oh, wait. The formula in the book has some order to it, right? So let's call this one x2, y2, and this one x1, y1. Okay, now I want to know how far apart these are, right? So how far apart these are is this distance, right? Okay, which I probably can't get like really easily because it doesn't really go in a direction that I have ticks to count, right? Okay, so I need to get at it a different way. So maybe let me think about, let me put a triangle in here. You guys see this? Okay. Now, what do I know about this triangle?
It's a right triangle.
Why is it a right triangle?
Because two of the lines are perpendicular.
Why are they perpendicular?
Because they follow the other axes.
Yeah, because they're parallel to the axes, and the axes are perpendicular. You guys all playing along with that? Okay, so I know I'm in a right triangle. Why is that important?
Because you can find the third side.
Because otherwise it doesn't work. What doesn't work?
The formula you use.
What's the formula I'm going to use?
Pythagorean's theorem.
Yeah, the Pythagorean theorem, right? So the Pythagorean theorem tells me what?
A squared.
If,
I forgot this part.
okay, there's this part, right?
Yeah.
A squared plus B squared is C squared, right? But what's the if part?
If the triangle is a right triangle.
Okay, so if there's a right triangle,
Then A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
okay, but wait, what the hell? If triangle, then A squared plus B squared is C squared? So for any A, B, and C, this relationship holds?
No,
With
C has to
C
be
being
the
the
hypotenuse.
hypotenuse.
Okay, so when the sides are labeled, right, and C has to be the hypotenuse, AB can be the other sides, right? It doesn't particularly matter. Then A squared plus B squared is C squared, right? Okay, so how does that apply to my picture?
The distance is C squared.
Okay, so the blue is C, right? So I know that C squared is,
A squared plus B squared.
what are A and B in the picture?
Orange and green.
Those are orange and green. So maybe we'll go A for green and B for orange. I don't see them. Probably should have called that one D for dumb, because I forgot. Right? Why would I call it D? Not for dumb, but for
Distance.
distance. Right? We'll change it at the end, maybe. Okay, so now this becomes, I know what the distance is in terms of A and B. Can I figure out what the heck A and B are in terms of my points?
Follow the lines of axis.
Okay, so let's see. So C is going to be something squared plus something.
y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared? Is that what
Oh, okay. So we're looking at the green, right? And we're thinking, okay, the green's this distance. And that distance is, okay, well, it ends at, let me see, in the x, it ends at x2, right? And it started at x1. So it's x2 minus x1 long, right? So I can put that in here for the, which one was that? Green was
Green was A.
A. And orange one is,
Y2 minus Y1.
so that's this distance, right? And it ends at y2 and starts at y1, so it can be y2 minus y1 long. Okay, but now I'm not quite there, right? What am I still hung up on?
Square root. And you take the square root of all that.
Why?
Because c squared. So you need to take the square root of everything.
Yeah, because c squared, and I honestly couldn't give less of a hoot about the square of the distance, right? I want to know what the distance is. So c is square root of this stuff. What feels funny about that?
You have a square under a square root.
Okay, yeah. Aside from the inherent weirdness of the squares inside the square root, I went from here to here, right? What did I do?
Kept the equal sign. It should have been the apartment thing, right?
What was my step from there to there? What did I do to both sides? Square root, right?
You're assuming that C is less, so it doesn't matter.
You guys see that? I should have had to take the plus or minus square root, right?
Oh, that's what it is.
But I know the minus doesn't matter in this case because,
It can't be a
Looking
negative
for
distance.
distance.
yeah, because c is a distance, right?
You're looking-
So I dropped a minus sign there because c is a distance. Cool. All right, so I think this is done for getting the formula, right? Should we try an example or two? How about find the distance between -2, -1, and -3, -4. So is this going to cause me problems?
No.
These are both in the not first quadrant, right? Do I have to draw a picture and figure out which one's kind of further up and right than the other one? No, the formula doesn't care, right? So I can get away by just picking one to be the second point and pick the other one to be the first point. You guys cool with that? So which one would you like to make the second point and which one would you like to make the first point?
-3, -4 is the second one.
Okay, that seems reasonable, right? So then this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, right? Okay, so if I'm going to jam this in the formula, I'm going to say d, because I probably should have called this stupid thing d, which is an easy fix, right? Okay, so d is the what?
X squared minus x1, y squared minus y. All squared root.
Okay, so square root of, what's x2 minus
-3 minus
-3 minus
-2.
-2? And then what should I do with that?
Square.
Square it? And then I should add,
Negative 4 minus negative 1 squared.
and square that. Okay, so I get the square root of
Negative 1.
Yeah, square root.
negative 1, right?
Yeah. And
Really, that's
negative
plus and plus. So I get negative 1 squared is 1 plus,
9.
okay, because that's negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3 squared gives me
9.
positive 9. Okay, so I get all told the square root of 10.